candidates were sent letters, email, phone call, Facebook, and I would like to honor these 5 individuals who came and answered that call. So let's give them a round of applause. Okay, to formally open the program, I would like to introduce the representative of the Lynn Community Association, Douglas Maitland, to welcome everyone. Let's give Douglas a round of applause. Oh, you're staring the other way.
I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to this Councilor at Large Forum. One of the goals of the Lynn Community Association is education. And what we're doing tonight is educating each and every one of you to be a better voter and to vote, which is very important. We have our board of directors here. Our president is not here. Vice President Josh, would you raise your hand? Secretary Cheryl. Coco. Peter. Duncan. I want to say just one thing about the Lynn Community Association. In one sentence, I can tell you what we do. The Lynn Community Association promotes pride and ownership in the Lynn community through beautification, education, recreation, and neighborly relationships. And in that one sentence, it tells you everything we do. Again, enjoy the evening, learn something, and become an informed voter. Thank you.
Thank you, Douglas. I was waiting for your twin brother to move forward, but I didn't know you were behind me. I would also like to acknowledge Courtney, who would be our future board member at LCA, and Paul Coombs, who's the president of Cold Response Association, who is who's been volunteering with us since we started this one. To welcome you to this beautiful place is Brother Fawaz Abushar. We call him Fuzzy. Let's give Fuzzy a round of applause.
Good evening, everybody. And my name is Fawaz Abushar. I am the Director of Communication and Public Relations at the Islamic Society of the North Shore. It is a great honor for us to be co-hosting this. For any non-profit or any religious organization to do the things like this is like the ultimate, because our religion should be about how we can serve the community. It's not just about relation with God. So thank you all for showing, obviously you're showing a lot of interest in knowing about this. I'm not going to be undersold. I have with me our Board of Trustees, Duke, to help us welcome you. Thank you everybody who showed up. Thank you for the candidates. It's a great honor for us to see you all, and good luck.
Thank you, Fuzzy. So I'm going to introduce, there's no need for me to read their bio because you guys have their bio in your program. But that's just one thing I would like to have a quick introduction with our timekeeper and our moderator. Our timekeeper, Carlos, please stand up. This is the future mayor of Lynn. This guy, I wish I'm like you. When I was 16 years old, I was probably hanging out with my friends doing bad things when I was 16. And our moderator, she actually don't know this, but she's my idol. She's been everywhere and doing a lot of things in the
Yes.
community, and it's an honor to have you here. So let's give it up for Nicole McLean, our moderator. Nicole, take it away.
Okay, Coco, thank you for that. That was very nice of you to say. Again, thank you to the candidates that were able to show up tonight. That's nice of you to answer the call because, you know, Coco has gone through a lot to get everyone here. So we're very happy that you came. The rules for tonight would include each candidate will be allowed 2 minutes introduction. Candidates will present in alphabetical order. A yellow flag will be displayed by Carlos when 15 minutes is up. A red flag will be displayed when time is finished. I will ask questions which have been submitted anonymously by voters in the community. The order to answer the question will start in alphabetical order of candidate's last name. The question will then be passed to the left. Each candidate will have up to 60 seconds or 1 minute to answer the question. The yellow and red flag timekeeping will apply. If any candidate makes a remark which is directed toward another specific candidate, that candidate will be allowed 45 seconds to respond or rebut, and the yellow and red flag time will also apply.
Give that to Buzzy.
Following approximately 65 minutes of questions and answers, each candidate in reverse order will be allowed an additional 1.5 minutes to make a closing, again with the yellow and red flag. Candidates who do not respect the timekeeping rules may be disqualified from participating in the remainder of the debate. Okay, so those are the debate rules. And with that being said, I'm going to have Jose Encarnacion start off with his introduction.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much. I would like to, first of all, give thanks to Lynn Community Association for having us here today, and also thank to all of you for being here today. Well, my name is Jose Encarnacion, as you heard. I immigrated to the United States when I was a teenager, which has making me a gratified resident of this great city. I'm a father of 5. I'm married. My beautiful wife is here, recording me. I'm number 7 of 13 children, and some of my brothers and sisters are here today. My family have businesses here in the city of Lynn, and I went to North Shore Community College, where I got a liberal arts, and then I transferred to UMass Boston, where I graduated for a bachelor degree in economics in 2002. I'm respectfully asking for your support in November 5th election. I'm running because I'm committed to this great city. I'm committed to its residents and to making Lynn a better place to live, to work, and to retire. So I really appreciate your presence here, and please vote November 5, vote 7 for Jose Encarnacion. Thank you.
We only have one microphone, so thank you.
Thank you, Jose. Next, we're going to have Brian Field do his introduction.
Thank you, Nicole, and certainly thank you to the Lynn Community Association, the Islamic Society of the North Shore for welcoming us here tonight, all of you that are gathered here, those that are watching at home. My name is Brian Field. I'm an incumbent Councilor at Large candidate here in Lynn. This is my first time running for re-election. 2 years ago, I was running as a non-incumbent, and it was certainly a challenge, as it is a challenge that it'll be again this time. I'm asking for your support. I think over the last 2 years, everything that I promised I would be: responsive, hardworking, accessible. I've been committed to the community in many ways. Certainly with many of you that are here, also committed to our community. I think tonight you're going to hear those questions that we share as a community. Our finances, our public safety, certainly all those concerns that we all share together and how we're going to combat those together. I'm honored to be here with two of my colleagues and certainly welcome the others that are putting themselves forward. I welcome them and the debate that we're going to have here tonight. Hopefully that answers some of those questions. And I know it's not going to answer all of them, but it's going to take time. It's going to take everybody, and I'm happy to be part of that team. I hope for your support again on November 5th of this year to be re-elected to the council so I can continue doing what I have been doing for the last 2 years of serving you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. I'm another Brian. I'm Brian LaPierre. I'm running for Councilor at Large. Lynn means everything to me. I'm now seeking my third term as Councilor at Large. I've been elected since 2000, well, when I got elected in 2015, began serving in 2016. I was born and raised in Lynn. I've spent my whole life making Lynn a better place to live, and I'm running for re-election to make our neighborhood safer, cleaner, and create local jobs. I think that's critical, and also respond to your concerns as community members, and I have a hallmark reputation for doing so, either on social media or a traditional telephone or text message or Facebook or Twitter, you name it. I'm very accessible, as my colleagues have said as well. We have a good council. We're a strong council. I know Councilor Barton is not here this evening. He is at another pressing engagement, but he will be participating in other forums. As we go along, the four of us are a team. We work very well. We respond to concerns. As a city councilor, I've responded to over 2,000 constituent requests in the past 4 years. I'm fighting to make Lynn neighborhood safer, cleaner. I work very well with my ward council colleagues. I think being a liaison, if you would, I feel like the John Stockton of the NBA. I know I might be dating myself, who's rather a person who gets an assist and helps the ward councilors and doesn't always have to get the credit for doing something that's right in the city of Lynn. I'm running to be that person that helps all residents, from lifelong Lynners to those that just moved here recently. I want to advance, I want to help see those folks advance in this city, whether they're going to school, raising their family, or starting a local business. It's important that you send this council back to continue the hard work that we've been engaged in over the past 24 months. I respectfully ask for one of your 4 votes on November 5th. Thank you.
Yeah, that's good. I want to thank Coco and the LCA for hosting this forum. I'm so happy to be here, and so wonderful to see everyone here, and this is a wonderful place. I'm running for re-election because I feel that we still have a lot of things to be done, although our cities move forward very nicely and we work well together. But always something else needs to be done, and I want to be a part of it, and I'm so proud to be a part of the council, and we have a very strong council, like Councilor LaPierre said, and so this is my 5th term seeking for re-election. I got elected in 2011 because I had a passion to give back to the community, because I came here since I was 15 years old, and I also graduated from University of Massachusetts Amherst with a Bachelor in Political Science. I have 2 children, and with my wife right here, and we got married 21 years ago, and we moved we moved to Lynn 20 years ago, and we bought our first home here, and we raised our children here, and it's 19. She's it's 19. She's in her 2nd year in college, and William is a senior at the Classical High School, and they're doing great. I'm so happy for them. And I believe that as the government, we have to listen to the people's voice, and I'm representing for that. And we will continue to do that. And we have done a lot for our constituents, and the city's moving very nicely, like I said. And I just want to ask you to give me a second chance, 2 more years, so I won't be disappoint you, and I promise, and I do whatever I can to work well with everybody, and my goal to work with all of you. Thank you so much.
I need to stand up. Whoa, we got balloons, a little festival.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lynn Pena, and first and foremost, I'd like to thank God for allowing me to be here. I want to thank the LCA, Co-Owners Association, Mr. Fuzzy for hosting this, and I want to thank you, the citizens of Lynn. It gives me a great honor to be here, and it's my honor to be here, and I am so excited to be here. I'm 47 years old. I lived in Lynn my whole life. Went into Lynn Public Schools. I worked for the Lynn Water and Sewer Commission. You know, I share the same concerns, and I'm a homeowner. I share the same concerns as a lot of residents of the city of Lynn. Our escalating property taxes, our trash, our roadways, our safety is a big concern. And I'm very pleased with, you know, and I'm grateful for what our councilor is doing, but I like to be part of change, and we need to. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And I like to be part of that change, part of the process. I'm grateful for the direction that our city's going into, but we can do better. We can do better. My name is Lynn Pena, and I'm asking you, please, on November 5th, consider me to be your candidate. Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get into the questions now. And please remember, you only have 1 minute to answer the questions. Carlos will warn you. Please back to Jose, because he's going to be going first.
Sure.
Is it always going to be?
It's always going to go that way. That's the way I'm going to do it, because you know, that was extensive. So question 1, if elected, what 3 steps would you take to put our city on a firmer financial footing? Jose.
Do you mind repeating the question?
If elected, what 3 steps would you take to put our city on a firmer financial footing?
Guys, the questions are here too, so you can.
Oh, okay. Well, I wish I have an answer for you for this question. It's a very important question. Since I don't know the situation, I don't know fully the situation of the situation or the budget of the city. I know we have a budget problem in the city, but I do tell you that once I get elected, I will ask for a fully audit on the city to find solutions to that crisis.
Thank you, Jose. Mr. Field?
Thank you, Mr. McLean. Sure, certainly a good question. It's a concern that everyone here shares. A better financial footing starts with a council that can work together with the mayor, work together with community leaders, work together with the unions in the city to negotiate a fair contract for them, but a fair contract for the city. That's what we did this year. The mayor's continuing working on those negotiations with many of the unions in the city. We've supported the budget. We passed a balanced budget. We've taken into consideration the recommendations put forward by the Department of Revenue. Sean Cronin, who's assigned to us as an overseer, a fiscal civility officer from the state overseeing the city's finances. It's a step before having an overseer, and there's a big difference between the two. In good faith negotiations, the mayor, working with the council, has accomplished that, and that's certainly a step. Welcoming new business into the community like we've done, supporting those businesses that are here. Those are all important steps. Thank you.
Thank you for that answer. Okay, Mr. LaPierre.
Thank you, Nicole. As Brian just alluded to, we did inherit a $14 million deficit from the past mayoral administration. We worked tirelessly with the current mayor to close that gap. And I'm proud of the work of as the chair of the budget committee for the city of Lynn with my colleagues, making sure that we did responsible adopted the lowest possible property tax on residences. We need to, as Brian said, expand the commercial tax base, particularly along our waterfront. That's the next phase of all of this. We need to continue to permit both medical and recreational cannabis. We have now permitted 7 out of 8 in the past 2 years. That is giving back host agreements and monies to different communities throughout the city of Lynn, different schools. It's a revenue source, a new revenue source. We've increased a lot of the way in which we do business in terms of the city hall, 15 seconds, and with Lynn Auditorium and bringing in headline acts. We need to continue this work along with getting state aid. We're very proud of the Chapter 70 money. It looks really good for our schools, and then we can start investing in a capital improvement plan. Thank you.
That was a very good question, and my colleagues have answered most of the answer already, so I don't have a lot to add. But I just want to say I'm proud to chair the Ways and Means Committee, and we work really diligently with the mayor and the council and CFO to make sure what we spend on our services is accurately and the right ways to do, and we do that very well. And we budget we balance our budget, like Brian said, and we have some money from the state because we work so well with the state delegation, and also our residents are very generous and to help us and understand and what we are doing, and also we have a lot of investors starting to come to our city, and we will work with them to do what we can to help them, but also we will not forget people who need other things like affordable housing. So we will look at them as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you. That was a good question. So, like council just, they just mentioned they inherited a deficit, and but we need to look for more outside help, state funded, federal funding. We got to seek additional resources of income. We got to look for investors that want to bring commercial revenue to our city. We got to do a better job with public information. Also, like right now, there's a census that's coming up, and it's very important to get people involved in the census because it's going to affect us for the next 10 years with federal funding. And we need to do a better job at promoting issues and things that are going with the city, like the primaries. The city should have done a better job at that. Bobby Brown got more exposure than our primaries. We got to really push because it's really important. This census is really going to affect us for the next 10 years. I think it's $2,400 per student that federally comes, and it's very important that we all get involved with the census, bring money, outside money.
Those are some very good answers. I like your answer also, Independent. That was very good. All right, question 2. What steps should be taken to curb violence in our city?
Yes, one of the things is that I think we should bring back community policing. We need to bring back that the police go around the city and know more their citizens. And also, we need to hire more police officers. This city is a great city. It's a big city, and with 170 police officers is not enough for the city of Lynn. I think we need to find the funding to hire more police officers to be able to walk around the city and make our city more safe.
Mr. Field, what do you think?
Thank you, Nicole. Yeah, just like Mr. Encarnacion had just said, we do need to hire police, and that's what we have done so far. We've hired 9 on a grant that was awarded to the city. We hired another 9 in this past year, and now we're hiring another 10. With those 29 new officers, and officers being hired to replace retirees additional to that, not a hiring freeze, we have continued to hire police officers. Those community liaison officers that have been on bike patrols in the downtown area, traffic areas, those programs you're going to start seeing coming back into the city. Certainly programs for children, getting them the activities that they seek. Lynn Vocational Tech was one example that they opened up their doors on Friday evenings, welcomed those kids with the DPW, sponsored pizza parties, movies, different activities for them, giving them a place to go, away from the street, away from the violence, and certainly stand together, shoulder to shoulder with each other to curb the violence. Thank you.
That was a very good question, other than hiring police to really incorporate the youth of Lynn and get them busy, because that's very important. Go ahead, Mr. LaPierre.
Sure, Nicole, and I agree, and I think it happens with prevention, and that's one key component. I think the hiring of police to replace some attrition. We've had a ton of retirements in the police force. As you recall, back in the crime bill in 1994, we hired a slew of new officers, and those folks are now retiring out of their careers. So you wouldn't believe how long it takes to get folks who are newly hired through the academy. It's a 6 to 9 month process, and we're seeing the effects of that. And every time we try to add more police to our rank and file, it seems there are several more that are retiring. So trying to keep up with that wave, trying to be proactive in terms of some of the recent gun episodes and violence across the city over the late summer and into the fall. We're all part of the Stop the Violence Lynn Coalition. We need more of that. We need to have more, and it's not just simply getting out and doing a parade or a walk. We need to get back to community liaison teams, as Brian referred to, get back into the neighborhoods, get into the schools with school resource officers, do a more comprehensive job around violence in our city, educating. Thank you.
I have drive with the police officers at night, and they do a pretty good job. They try to get to know the resident well, and that's a good way to engage with the resident. I want to see more of that. And yes, like Brian and both Brian said, we hire more police officers, but always people are retiring, and the chief won 190, so we almost get there. So we almost reach the number that we want. But we also need more cruisers, stuff like that, and also the police will. I would like to see our police officers go out more and educate our new residents, because they feel that they're still afraid of the law enforcement, and just to let them know that they're not there to harass anyone. In fact, they do such a great job already, and I want to see more of that, and I have been helping them a lot as well. And so that's what we should do as the city, and this is a big city.
Yes. Like everyone here mentioned, we need to hire more police officers, and we need to find additional resources of income to try to hire these police officers. But not only do we need more police officers, but we need police officers that reflect the community. How better can you work with the community than when you have peers that look like them, act like them, and know what is going on? Because police officers not only here to enforce the law, but they're here to work with our community, and we need more of that. And people that can identify with certain groups of people. We need to find more police officers that reflect the community. I think the city of Lynn is 2/3 minority. Am I correct? And that's something that especially working with your community, getting involved, engaging in activities. Like Brian mentioned, there was shootings over the summer. With school activities and stuff, and we need to engage more of that. And I agree. We need police officers.
All right, Mr. Penny, that was a very good point, that we need people that reflect our community also as police. That was a very good point. Thank you for pointing that out. Question 3, what kinds of policies, if any, will you pursue to promote social and racial justice in our city? Jose? What kinds of policies, if any, will you pursue to promote social and racial justice in our city?
Well, I believe we should be a city more inclusive. We see that throughout the city, that it doesn't reflect in every department. It doesn't reflect what the city looks like, and we like to see that inclusiveness in the city hall and the police department, school, every department around the city.
It's very important. Thank you, Mr. Encarnacion. Mr. Field?
Thank you, Nicole. Over the past 2 years, working with the mayor's office, working with the colleagues on the council, working with those in the community, we have hired our first African-American fire chief. We have hired our first African-American superintendent to lead the schools. The focus is there. It's led by the administration from the mayor's office, certainly passes right through on the council. It's recognized. We make every effort that we can. Different departments are beginning to promote multi-language information, Spanish and English announcements for hiring through the personnel department. Mr. Russo, new hiree there. And that's a start. And obviously we have a ways to go, but those are a couple of examples that those are a start to begin that process.
I'm going to try and do justice to the answer in just 1 minute, and I think my focus is going to be where Councilor Net and I visited and toured this morning, Pathways, adult basic education, right on the clock tower on the Linway. We were there this morning. We saw how wonderful this program is to get people quality degrees, education, GEDs, get them on a pathway of work. This is promoting social and economic justice, and what these programs need, and there are a bunch of them, I'm just targeting Pathways because it's fresh in my mind. They don't only need the volunteer base and the support, they need our dollars. They need funding, desperately. We need to seek grants, we need to help them along, we need to establish more, either from state or federal, even locally, to promote all of the great things that are happening in the city of Lynn, vis-a-vis boards, vis-a-vis appointments, helping folks navigate a very complex governmental system. That's what our role should be in government. Is that yellow or
That's
am I
15
red?
minutes, but you're
15
not
seconds?
answering, yeah, 15 seconds,
Okay.
sorry, but you're not answering the question. You're
Well,
talking
we're
about-
promoting social, racial, and economic justice, I think, and these are the examples I'm giving around folks who need to have entry points. And my time is up, but we're very, very cognizant of this. I want to do better at it.
I have been working with the ECHO to promote justice, and also I have been spoken at the new American Center, and there's a lot of newcomers here, and we try to promote them to be leadership in the city. And we just hired a wonderful lady, Carla, for the director of the museum recently, and I'm so really proud of that. And like Brian said, we have the chief and the fire chief and the superintendent. So we are very fortunate, and it's still not enough. There's still more need to be done, and we will work very hard with the mayor, with the city to make sure we hire more people of color to run our city, and so we do what we can. And so far, it's the first step. So I'm very glad to see it happen. Thank you.
Thank you. And like I've mentioned before, and I agree with Mr. Net here, our local government needs to hire more people of color to show that social strength, And we have to get better with our communication with our residents, especially Spanish-speaking, other languages, and just to get people more engaged, involved in our community. And that's a big thing. I think that's very key, but we need to hire more people that reflect the diversity of the city and local government. And I'd like to see more of that. It's great we have a chief, first black chief, but I just want to mention he was the best qualified person, Mr. Archer. And that's just, a great example, but we need to have more people of color in our local government, in our schools, teachers. We need to hire more people of color in our government. Thank you.
All right, we're gonna mix it up a little bit, so stop it at Brian. I'm sorry, Mr. Fields. Right. Question 4 is going to be, what are your plans for increasing affordable public transportation to Lynn? So Brian Field, please start that.
Great question. Recently, we just supported Senator Crichton's proposal that he brought before the Transportation Commission at the state level, asking the MBTA to take into consideration the lack of rapid transit for Lynn residents into Boston, and to decrease the fare on the commuter rail. That's a start, something that we support. We certainly support the new bus routes that the MBTA has worked on over the past couple of years to consolidate some bus routes to improve better service, to make it more affordable. Certainly looking at different bike paths, getting more cars off the road. There are more cars on the road than there were 20 years ago. We're doing what we can to make it affordable for folks, working with the MBTA, working with our state delegation, and I think we'll continue doing so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, Mr. LaPierre, but we're going to give it to Hong next.
Okay.
Thank you.
Brian is right, and we have to look to the state delegation to help us to fund us some more money so we can help our residents for affordable transportation. The mayor was in the state house for a while, and he has some experience on that, and Brendan's worked on that, and the rest of the state delegation. And we do what we can and to subsidize our residents, especially senior, who cannot afford the high fare for transportation, and they need to go to markets, go to places, doctor's appointment, stuff like that. And that's our duty, our responsibility to make sure our residents can go around as they please, because this is a time for them to enjoy this lifestyle. Thank you.
You're fine, Lynn Penny. Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with, we need to increase public transportation. We gotta request state funding from us, our state funding to probably improve our bus stations and our bus stops. I would like to advocate to possibly extend the blue line, to the Linway. That'll be part of, economic development, bring more commercial revenue, if we can possibly extend our blue line. And I would, advocate to get more, funds from the state, MBTA, improve our bus stations, and make things a little more accessible for people, and decrease our rates. Those things I like to do.
Thank you, Mr. Pena. Mr. LaPierre, you're next.
Thank you, Nicole. The comparison that Councilor Field made is an accurate one. Why should Quincy be treated differently with reduced fares compared to Lynn? We're very similar in population. We should be on that same route as Quincy is, the city of Quincy. It dismays me that we lost our ferry because of low ridership, they claim. It was high pricing. If we could subsidize the ferry, just like Weymouth and all the other communities did, and give this a true chance, we would be able to take more cars off the road and be able to alleviate some of that congestion. I, along with my colleagues, we tried to do a bike share program. We've got to get a better provider. We were not happy with Ant Bicycle, if you recall that from last summer, 2 summers ago. So we need to find a real, true ride share, and we also are supportive of complete streets. And we are also in the process of, we don't want to reduce buses, we want to increase bus lines. But we also want to do that by tempering the fares and expand on services for our seniors like the Ride and Meals on Wheels, and be able to transit and be able to have something to be proud of in terms of our transportation system that's affordable. Thank you.
Thank you. And lastly, Mr. Encarnacion.
Yes, I agree, Mr. Brian. We shouldn't reduce the buses. I think we should need more routes. Lately, they talking about cutting routes, and I think that will affect the citizen of this great city of Lynn. We need to increase routes all around the city. I know that's a state issue, but I think it's affecting the citizens, and if I have to vote, I will vote against it.
Thank you. All right, question 5. What is your stance for increasing access to medically assisted treatment in Lynn to address the opioids epidemic? I will let Councilor Nett to answer this one first.
we have to work with the state delegation. We need the money from the state, and we cannot keep raising taxes or property taxes to for this. But we also need the police officer to get involved, and also we have the Lynn Community Health Center. We tour the Lynn Community Health Center, and they have a great program for that. There's a lot of people go seek help there, and Brian and Councilor Barton also were there as well. We was amazed about what they do, and we want to see something like that. The money is the most important to fund this kind of organization to help our residents, because it's a big issue right now, and a lot of people got hurt by this and affect a lot of people's health and families as well. So I would propose to work with the state closely and get more funds to help the organization like Lynn Community Health Center.
Okay, Mr. Pena.
Yes, it's a big crisis, the opioid crisis. We need money. City needs funding. We need to seek funding. Thank you. We need to seek funding to get help programs. But one thing we need to do is I think one of the biggest issues with the opioid crisis is there's not enough information for families to know how to deal with this epidemic, because there's enough resources, but there's not enough information for the families how to help one another with this. And one thing, like you mentioned, we need to get our police involved with our residents, to deal with resolution, instead of the conflict. And we need to educate more people on how to deal with this crisis, because a lot of people are getting affected. Being honesty without compassion leads to brutality, and it starts with compassion. You got to start helping people, and giving them information.
Okay, next for answering the question will be Brian Field. Sorry.
Thank you. Great question. Oh, sorry. Everybody can hear. Thank you. On the council, I chaired the subcommittee for opioids. Last May of 2018, we hosted our first opioid forum, where we invited experts, 6 panelists from the police chief, sheriff, Dr. Kiami Mahania from Lynn Community Health Center, other experts on what they're doing in the community to help deter and support people that are affected by the opioid crisis. The behavioral health unit at Lynn Police has certainly taken an active role. Rather than charging people with a crime because of an addiction, you're reaching out to them and voluntarily asking that they volunteer to seek treatment for themselves so that they can avoid prison for an addiction. We're going to continue doing that. Our statistics are currently showing a decrease because of those efforts from the Lynn Police, the Drug Force Task Force. Everybody's been effective in this fight together.
Thank you. Mr. Encarnacion.
There's the opioid epidemic crisis is destroying families, unity in the whole city of Lynn, and also elsewhere around. I think we need a lot more education to the family in regard to this issue. We need to increase for treatment, increase access for treatment, and we definitely need more funds to help the family that are going through this difficult time. With one of the family is going through this is very it's very touching that I've seen friends, families who are going through this. This is very trouble.
Thank you. Start with Mr. LaPierre.
I agree with my colleagues and candidates. Addiction is a major issue across the Commonwealth. I think we have to rely a lot on Attorney General Healy's office to give us support, funding, and find the research. As my colleagues alluded to, we did, under Councilor Field's leadership, host that summit. It was very successful. We've been on tours, all 4 of the Councilor at Larges, to the Bridgewell, the former Lucky Strike Buffum Street site, where we saw firsthand how rehabilitation can work. I'm a big proponent of education at the youngest level, so working with struggling athletes who have had this issue and this problem and this addiction, and bringing in guest speakers that breathe, like Chris Herron, and I know later this month at Lynn English High School with former Peabody standout Jeff Allison, speaking to kids directly about the impacts that opioid crisis has on them and their families, and how it tears families apart. We're all a part of that. We'd like to do more. And I think, you know, some of the things are working, but we have to get creative and be innovative and rely on all of our partners.
Very good answers. Question 6, we'll start with Mr. LaPierre. What are your plans to attract businesses to the city?
Great question. I think economic development in the next term is going to be really the linchpin of what drives the city of Lynn. We're at a point now where we're ready. The Lynn Way Master Plan that has, I mean, it has the greatest potential. Our north site with what's going to be, I think, beautiful open space, a combination of boardwalk, a combination of retail, apartment on top, a lot of hopefully small business and residences alike. That's really a linchpin of what we want to do and continue on that north corridor around the downtown area with the projects that we've been underway, the Lynn Arts and Cultural District. So promoting business starts with, you know, Market Basket and all of the successful small businesses. You need big ones too, but you also have to provide access, you have to provide safety. It's about the lighting that we just installed, the LED lighting, so people feel safe when they shop and we want to encourage business, but we cannot give away the store to big corporate America. No tips, no tax incentives from me.
Okay, next to answer the question is going to be Mr. Encarnacion. What are your plans to attract businesses to the city?
Well, I think we need more policy favorable to attract businesses. And we definitely need to address public safety. With that issue, with that thing addressing, we're not gonna have businesses attracting to the city.
Thank you. Mr. Pena?
Just like Mr. Encarnacion said, I agree. You know, we need to have policies to work with small businesses. And we also need to work with public safety. You know, we need to ensure the safety of people so they can walk around our downtown and feel safe and shop around. I mean, it was about a month ago, we had someone, you know, there was a murder right in around noontime on Union Street. You know, and we need to increase public safety, you know, and that'll show the safety, I mean, for people. I mean, when I grew up as a kid here in Lynn, I remember you could go downtown and people would shop on the weekends. Now, I mean, you don't see that. It's very, very rare. You know, people don't feel safe, you know, at downtown. We need to increase, you know, safety. You know, I think that's very important.
Thank you. Councilor Nat?
Yeah, business is a big bone of our city, and we all strongly believe that, and public safety is important. Go along with it. If we don't feel safe, there's no business come to our city. But we have been doing that, and also we passed the ordinance in 2016 in downtown to make sure our city is clean, and we don't allow small, car deal or anything in the city anymore, so that will attract business. And also the waterfront is being developed right now, and I see there's potential coming along, but once again, still not quick enough, and we have to do some more promotion and make sure we go out there to visit different cities who have been like us. But the governor also promised us that it is a time for Lynn, so hopefully he keep his word, and we will continue to push him to make sure Lynn is it's the time for Lynn right now. It used to be low, so now it's Lynn's time.
Thank you. Lastly, Mr. Field.
Thank you, Nicole. Great question. Like Councilor LaPierre said, these next 2 years are going to be critical to get Lynn over that hump for economic development, stabilizing our tax base here in the city, so it's not on the residents, supporting that. A couple of examples is when somebody reaches out to us as a counselor, leading them to the right channels. for support, for financial investment, leading them to economic development. An example is on Walnut Street, where the vacant storefront sat dormant for years, is now going to be a music school next to the Dunkin' Donuts on Walnut Street. We're welcoming businesses that can succeed here in the city. We have one of the best water supplies in the city. Many food types of businesses are succeeding. We just welcomed Durham Pasta on Eastern Ave. If you haven't been, probably one of the best places for pasta. We look at One Mighty Mill. John Henry and his family were in there within the past month and a half, looking to further invest into that business, because that's how much success they've had. Those are ways to support that and continue supporting the businesses that are here already.
Thank you, Brian Field. You can keep the microphone for question 7. What is your idea to promote a fair job listing in the city of Lynn, as far as hiring, budgeting, and posting jobs?
Sure. I think with the hiring of the new Human Resources Director, Drew Russo, he's been doing that. He's been responsive. Yourself as an example. We're reaching out to everyone in the community, not just those that pay attention on social media or just those that pay attention to the want ads. It's in 2 languages now. I'm hoping it'll be in more languages to support others in the community. That's a start. Budgeting, we have to be fiscally responsible. We still have responsibilities to the state. We did borrow $14 million to pay for our deficit over the past year that we incorporated. We do have responsibilities to the state so that we can stabilize what we're doing now and move forward, rather than not hire and start to take steps back. We have to certainly be cautious on that front.
Okay, you can pass that to Mr. LaPierre next.
Okay, thank you, Nicole. Yeah, I echo my councilor colleagues' sentiment on the personnel director. Everything now is posted, it's in multi-languages. But beyond that, some of the consolidations, we've done some savings around budgeting, like combining the collector and the treasurer's office to a savings and more efficient way of running that department. I also think we should engage young people. I would like to see the personnel department at City Hall sponsor a job fair and try and recruit young workers. We do that in our summer employment. We have a lot of jobs that are in the parks or in different communities throughout Lynn. Different agencies, I should say, and that's a successful program where a small business may contribute half of what the student salary is, and then the city will kick in half, like a grant. But we do have to get back to sort of this all-inclusive way of hiring, and I think Mr. Russo is doing an adequate job of really bringing this and modernizing the personnel department so that it is more accessible and more available to folks. Thank you.
Mr. LaPierre, that was a very good answer. Can we pass it to Mr. Pena for the next?
Yes. I like to see the changes in the hiring policy, rather than, most of the, when they hire, most of the jobs when they're being hired, I guess the hiring goes with, from what I've seen is, hiring goes inside first before they're posted outside, and we need to change that policy. We need to look for best qualified people and better communication, and now, with social media and ways to reach the people, we need to post jobs in different languages so people make it a level playing field for everyone, because everyone deserves a chance,
Thank you, Mr. Net.
So I can describe much more than my colleagues and my friend has done. So we need to put more languages, not just 2, and also we have to get kids involved, like Brian said. That's the most important. And although the city have done a pretty good job in promoting and also posting, but it's still not reach out to everyone yet. So we all need to be a part of it. We need to spread the words, and we need to tell everyone, our families, our friends, tell them that we need to go to the city hall to look for a job listing. And also the budget, we put aside some money to make sure we have enough money to hire kids on summer jobs. So that's very important. I'm very glad to see that. I want to see that more happen, and also they deserve a little more than what we pay now. So right now we pay them $11 an hour. So I want to see more of that. So we do what we can to put more money aside for the kids, so they need the money.
Thank you. I'm glad that we're including the youth in this, in the ideas that you guys are saying. This is really good. Thank you. Lastly, Mr. Encarnacion.
Yes, I think I agree with all of them, and we need job fairs, and we need those jobs to be posted also in different languages. But those jobs need to be bring that information to all the multiple association within the city, because sometimes they post a job at the city hall, and the community find out after someone has been hired for the job. So, and that way we can see more inclusion. We can see a reflex of what the city is really like. We need to see that happening in the city. Thank you.
That was a very good idea as well. Mr. Encarnacion, you can hold on to it for questioning. Why does Lynn have such a low voter turnout, and do you feel the city does enough to let residents know when it is time to vote?
Definitely, starting from the bottom, I don't think the city does enough. I don't think so. I see a lot of people that are not informed on the election. A lot of people are not registered to vote, and the city should do a lot more. And I think the reason there's a very low turnout on election day is because the residents they don't trust the politician. The residents don't. I mean, when we go out there looking for their votes every 2 years, but then they don't feel represented. And since they don't feel represented, so they don't go out and vote.
Thank you. Very good answer. Mr. LaPierre.
Thank you. I do agree that we should be promoting civic engagement all the time, and voting is so important in our city. And we want to see more than 6% come out in a primary election. Let's face it, those numbers need to go up for November 5th. We need to have people registered to vote. Registering by October 16th right now. You can go into City Hall from now until then, until 5 o'clock that evening. There is going to be some banners, I believe, that were purchased out of the city clerk's office to heighten the awareness, but it's still not enough. We're constantly promoting on social media, I know my accounts, the value of voting, when the election is, please come out to vote. It's so important that we not only go walking and talking and meeting residents and telling them it's on all our literature. November 5th is the day, November 5th. And I like to remember it personally as I'm number 5 on the ballot on November 5th. So 5 for 5 for me. Thank you very much. We do need to do better as a community, and it takes all of us as a collective to really drive up that turnout. I'd love to see at least half the city come out to vote. 53,000 residents registered to vote. Let's get 25, 30,000 out there in November. Thank you.
We're gonna, sorry, Mr. Net, we're gonna pass it to Pena for the next.
Yes. So, like I've said before, the city needs to do a better job at promoting like our primaries, our elections. We do a better job at promoting Bobby Brown, Keith Sweat, and all these concerts. Bobby Brown got more exposure than our primaries, and we need to change that. And I think, like Jose mentioned, we don't have a big turnout because we don't see a lot of people that reflect the community now running for office, and hope to see. I like to be part of that change. I like to see people that represent most of the majority of the community, and I like to be part of that change. So please, don't forget, vote number 4, November 5th. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Net.
I have seen Coco and Peter have been go out and register people to vote. That's a great job. Thank you for doing that. And ever since I got elected, I registered over 1,000 people to vote, but it's not enough. It's not enough. I still do that every day, and yes, we need to do more, a lot more than that. All of us should be a part of it. It's not just politicians, not just civic engagement people. We all need to be a part. We need to remind our friends, our neighbors, our children, our parents, vote is important. That's their vote. if they want their voice to be heard, they need to vote. That's the most important. And we need to put money aside to put banner, make sure, remind people the date that go to vote and the date deadline of the register to vote. That's the most important. That's what we're gonna continue to do.
Thank you. Mr. Field.
Thank you. Your vote is your voice. Your vote is your voice. Whether that's local, state, federal, it's your voice. 6%, it's embarrassing. It's not just Lynn, it's all around. We see what happens on the national level when people don't vote. We've made changes to the voting process. We have early voting. We have absentee voting, which is beginning now. You have to encourage one another, people in your family, people in your neighborhoods. Register and vote. Your vote is your voice. Without voting, your voice isn't heard. We can sit here and debate this, that the city isn't doing enough with banners or what. 6% is reflective on people just not making the time, 5 minutes, to vote. Your vote is your voice.
Okay, thank you. That's very important. Local elections, so that we can make a change on in the United States as a whole. So local elections are very important. So definitely get out there and vote. If you're not registered, register and vote. We need you to. So make your voice be heard. Question 9. And we're gonna start with Hong Net. Should elected officials in Lynn have term limits, and why?
I believe we should have term limit, but it's not my decision. It has to go through the state level, it has to go through the whole city council, and so the resident will have to have the voice in this. But I that's how I believe. And so people have should have the opportunity to represent our community, and that's what I believe, and that's going to be a very short answer for me.
Okay, thank you. Lynn Pena.
Absolutely. I believe that we should have term limits. It would break up monopoly and give everyone a fair chance, you know? And because we all have a chance, we all have a voice, and we should all be represented. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Field, please.
Thank you. Tough question. Term limits, the success, it works at the national level. Locally, what I've recognized is that building relationships, building trust with people, it's taken time. It takes more than a year, it takes more than 2 years in some cases for people at the state level to work with you, to trust you, to recognize you in public, and to share those ideas. You learn from experience. You're not going to, the first year of medical school, you're not doing brain surgery. It takes time to learn all this. I've built relationships with different councilors from other cities, seeing what they're doing regionally in Boston, in Salem and Peabody nearby. We build those relationships to see what works. Those relationships do take time, so term limits, it would have to be defined as to what term limits would be. 2 years, 4 years, I think it's just a beginning step in some cases. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. LaPierre.
Sure, so I kind of believe in self-imposed term limits. I feel like as an elected official, if you're doing your job and you're working really hard, you'll know the time to step away as well. Going into my 3rd term now, I'm starting to get my feet under me. I'm starting to gain experiences. I really feel like term limits are elections. I feel like people need to get out, and if you are going to vote for the person that's the incumbent, that's an affirmation of the work that incumbent is doing. And if you're voting for change, that's also an affirmation of sorts. So I really feel like at some point in time, people ought to recognize where their value is, what they're doing in terms of where they are and where they are. Maybe I'm not a career politician. I don't claim to be. I'm not going to be up here forever. But at the same time, I want to do the good work, and I don't want to be limited by that work. If I have a sense of pride in my community that I'm doing the good work, that the people are instilling in me and sending me back to the council to do this good work, honest, integrity work, getting along with everyone, working hard on your behalf, then I don't want to be limited by some date. So I don't believe in that, but I do believe in the working for everyone until it's time where you don't need to work anymore. You completed your work. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Encarnacion.
Yes, there are a lot of people out there they want to be part of the solution. They want to come in and bring new ideas. I do believe that there should be term limits because there's a lot of good ideas out there, but they can't get in. So I think definitely yes. Term limits.
Thank you for your answer. Mr. LaPierre, the last question. What makes you the best candidate for councilor, and how do you stand out from other candidates?
Thank you. Great question. And if I could go back to the prior question, I would also, because of the terms, they're so brief, 2 years, we almost should be on a mayoral cycle, in a 4-year, but that's a charter change and everything else. So, but that being said, what I think we have really rich candidates and members of the Lynn City Council up here this evening. I'm honored to represent this city that I love so much. I'm honored to recognize a lot of you folks in the audience that have spent time coming this evening out to hear our views, and the folks, the listening audience and watching audience on television. It's an honor to represent the whole city of Lynn. It's a very difficult job. I wake up every morning with something to do, and I go to bed every night doing something for someone. I cannot tell you how it is to be in our shoes where we do work full-time jobs. We're very committed. We don't see our families much during this time, especially during campaign times, but we know what it is and we know what that job entails, and we signed up for this, and I'm honored if you'll send me back on November 5th with one of your 4 votes. Thank you.
Mr. Encarnacion.
And 1 minute is really quick.
What makes me the best candidate is that I'm a good listener. Whenever I go out there and campaigning, I listen more than I speak to voters. So I think all the candidates, they were qualified, but I think I am the person to be elected on November 5th. I'm number 7. And what differentiates me from them? I'm short and handsome. That's right. Vote for me, number 7, November 5th.
Thank you. Councilor Field.
And also to finish, yes, the experience. To be a little bit more serious about it. My experience with dealing with people with different ethnic background.
Thank you.
Nice. It's hard to say the best candidate. I think I'm well-rounded. I recognize what being on a team is about, working together with my ward councilors, supporting them, working well with my at-large councilors. As I mentioned in the beginning, I was elected as the only non-incumbent last election. So I've had to learn quick to how everything works together. We work together as a team really well. We respond to, there's so many different activities going on, so many different things that we support together. And we do bounce off one another and see who's going where so that we're representing the entire council at all times. That's why Councilor Barton wasn't able to be here. He's representing us at another function this evening. But I'm also involved in the community. As a funeral director, is my job. I'm out in the community every day. I'm responding to calls all hours of the day. My family's been receptive of that. They've been responsive of that. They know that I'm committed to them, but I'm also committed to all of you. I'm involved with different organizations in the community, North Shore Latino Business Association, other communities, organizations that do support everyone. And to show that support to them certainly means a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Net.
Thank you. You all are great candidates. I think I'm a good person. I believe I've done a very good job in the council. I work well with everyone, and I'm respectful. And that's what makes me the best candidate here, because I have full hair and Brian.
Full head of hair.
Full head of hair, okay. And but you all are handsome. Sorry. And, I'm number
It was gonna come up.
6 on the ballot. So if you give me 2 more years, I'll be I will do the
You'll be
best I
bald.
can, and I'm gonna continue to keep my hair. You know, like that. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, and
Thank you, Mr. Pena.
Thank you. Thank you, Hognet. Yeah, he beat me in that one. Just want you to know, I'm hardworking, I'm teachable, I'm humble. You know, you're talking to someone who knows what it's like not to have, you know? You're talking to someone who's been helpless, homeless, jobless. I know you're talking to a person that knows how to deal with adversity and how to work hard and overcome things like that. I am Lynn. You know, I am from my community. I am, like I said before, I work for the Lynn Water Sewer Commission. I'm out there every day. I work in the sewer department. I'm not no major CEO. I work hard, you know, and I love my community. I love the city. I've been here my whole life. I like to be part of the change, you know? Thank you. Number 4 on the ballot. Let me tell you. I got a hand. Number 4.
Okay, each candidate's going to have 1.5 minutes for their closing statement.
Nicole, we still have
Okay.
45 seconds to rebut Councilor Nett's. Number 4 in the program.
Yeah.
Number 4 in the program, it says if any candidate makes a remark which is directed toward another specific candidate, the other 4 without here, that candidate will be allowed 45
And since
seconds
I'm
to
running the show,
respond.
I say that his statement was valid. So you have 1.5 minutes, guys, for your closing statement, and we're going to start with Mr. Pena for a closing statement.
I'll do my best, go. Well, thank you, Ms. McLean. You know, thank you for hosting this forum. I want to thank the residents of the city of Lynn, the LCA, Fuzzy, where is he? Hey, Fuzzy. Thank you for hosting this here. And like I said, it's an honor for me to be here. You know, I've been in Lynn. I'm 47 years old. I've been here my whole life. Through Lynn Public Schools. I care about our community, and I like to see some diversity in our local government, in our public schools, with our police, and we need safety in our communities. You know, and I share the same concerns. You know, as a parent, as a homeowner, as a resident of the city of Lynn, I'd like to be part of that change. So please, on November 5th, vote number 4, vote Lennon Pena. Please give me a chance. Thank you.
Next for the closing statement will be Mr. Field. Mr. Field.
Thank you, Nicole, and thank you for hosting tonight. Thank you, Coco, the LCA, everyone that's attended tonight, all that are watching at home. Certainly, I think a lot of those questions that we answered tonight, it's not as in-depth as we need to be. There's still many more questions that we need to answer. I'm hoping to be given that opportunity to continue answering those questions on your behalf. Hardworking, accessible, and responsive, certainly flattering adjectives to be described by people in the community. I've worked hard to be all 3 of those for you. Hardworking, responsive, and accessible. As a lifelong Lynn resident and family man, as a local businessman and community leader, I'm well aware of all those concerns that were discussed this night. Working hard with other colleagues on the council, with the mayor's office, department heads, people that work in the city, that people that work without the city, people that live in the city, people that visit the city. I'm confident that by working together, being fiscally responsible, addressing those concerns, being transparent, having a clear vision for our community, we have the capabilities to overcome all of those concerns that were discussed here this evening by our community. As your counselor at large, I will be accessible. I will be hardworking, and I will be responsive to you. I respectfully ask for your vote to serve again as your counselor at large.
Thank you, Mr. Field. Can you pass it on to Councilor LaPierre?
Thank you, Councilor. It is an honor. I want to thank Lynn Community Association and our host for this evening and the listening audience. Again, Brian LaPierre, Councilor at Large, entering what I hope is a 3rd term. we really, I say we, the committee, myself, we do a tireless job of trying to get the job done for everyone. And that's a myriad of requests on a daily basis. I'm constantly handling with the help of my colleagues on the council, working together as a team. We stress teamwork. We don't have egos on the council, especially the 4 at-large members. We really work well together as a team. We work closely with our council president to make sure that we're getting the job done for its residents. We're out in the community. We're making sizable investments, whether it's a donation to this a group or trying to respond to folks either on social media in the toughest times of winter when there's snow bans and snow emergencies, and whether there's school or not, or parking or not, or how do you navigate a huge city like Lynn of over 90,000 residents, DPW, City Hall. We're now working closely with the mayor. The City Hall project. City Hall is an unleashing of our Lynn's history, a 70-year-old City Hall building. Come and see it. It's filled with arts and so many different things we're trying to do differently. The New Year's Eve block party comes to mind on Mount Vernon Street. Just thinking out of the box, food trucks and everything else that we're trying to promote. I humbly ask you to send me back for my 3rd term on November 5th, 1 of 4 votes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Knapp.
It's an honor to be here again tonight, and thank you, Coco and LCA for hosting this forum. It's an honor to sit this table with this wonderful men who care so much about the city. And I believe that I have done a very good job representing the people who felt that they were underrepresented for these past years. And I will continue to do that. And I have been working very hard to reach out to constituents and answer the phone calls and help them to start up businesses, help them to get their whole foreclosure back to the families, and many other things. And I cannot describe it all. For the past 8 years, I've done a significant job, and I'm very proud. And I'm still happy. I'm still happy to do what I do, and I love the city very much. And I'm glad to see my kids and other children doing so well in school and in their lives, and I want to be a part of it. And also I respectfully ask for your support so I can continue to represent you for 2 more years. September 5th is November 5th is the election, and I'm number 6 on the ballot. And please send me back so I can continue to work with my colleagues and with you to move our city forward for all of us so we can live peacefully and prosperity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Encarnacion.
But I would like to say thank you to Coco, thank you to all the candidates here. Thank you, Ms. McLean, great moderator. Thank you to the public, thank you to all of those who are watching from their home. It is a great honor for me to be here today. I want to be your voice. I want to be the voice of those who don't have voice. I want to be a bridge to the City Hall and the people. I represent my community in general. It is the time for a person like me with ideas that can be contributed to make better choices for the city of Lynn. It is an honor for me, my family, and the 96,000+ residents of the city of Lynn. It is time for me to be the city council. I represent diversity. I am an essential of this wonderful city of Lynn. Please vote for me on November 5th. Vote number 7. Vote for diversity. We need inclusion. We need to vote number 7 on November 5th. Thank you.
Thank you. For closing remarks, we're going to have Peter Cipriano, board member of the Lynn Community Association.
Hi, everyone. On behalf of Lynn Community Association, I'd like to thank the candidates for coming. We know you're busy. Campaign time. I want to thank our moderator and our timekeeper, Nicole McLean. Our co-host, the Islamic Islamic Society of the North Shore, Brother Fuzzy. Lynn TV, our official media partner. And we have media guests from the Daily Item, El Mundo, and the Lynn Journal. And all the volunteers and board members of LCA, we thank you. And we will see you October 16th at the First Lutheran Church for the Ward Counselor Forum. And good night, everybody.
Thank you.